How you going, people? Man, I got no shortage of cops earning the hate lately. I mean, and this is Texas. And I mean, at some point, people with guns are going to figure out just showing up with a gun. Government now isn't. See, it used to be government. If armed citizens showed up, government was like, you know what? We better not push this. We work for the people, by the people. These people are standing up. Maybe we should just back down. They're not committing a crime. They're not doing anything wrong. Let's just leave. Let's not push it. Well, now government has gotten so strong and so arrogant and so uncaring about we the people that they don't give a shit now. They're just going to come in storms. Another Waco, another Ruby Ridge, another Oklahoma bomb. Something is going to give with these freaking tyrannical cops because it is way out of control. Lady in Texas opened her bar up and had some armed men outside kind of standing guard, supposedly. I don't know what they were doing. Practicing their Second Amendment. When you mix Second Amendment and alcohol, they weren't drinking and they weren't inside the bar. So they were not committing a crime. But the woman who opened her bar was committing a crime. And the stormtroopers came in with their big military vehicles and they arrested all the guys with guns. I don't know what they charge them with. I doubt they'll charge them with anything. I don't even know what they'll charge them with. Doesn't matter. They're going to arrest them, take them to jail, and seize their guns. Outrageous. Let's look at the news report on this.
Hands up! You with the hand, green shirt, put your hands up again.
They rolled in with a guy in a freaking turret with a long rifle, a PA. Look at the size of this vehicle. Size matters, women. Sheriff, compensating. Some serious compensation here for the little penis sheriff here. But here we go.
What was supposed to be a peaceful protest quickly took a wrong turn.
Back! Be your guy in a white shirt, get back!
Here at Big Daddy Zane's, a local bar in West Odessa, owner Gabrielle Ellison opened up her doors despite Abbott's latest order.
We can't take it no more. We're not going to make it.
A risk she says she understands all too well, but it boils down to feeding her family.
I am aware of what's going on down the road.
Okay, so we have customers. These are pesky tax-paying citizens taking risks, taking self-responsibility, saying, I want to go to a bar. And we have a person trying to make a living saying, I own this bar, and if these people want to come here, I want to make it accessible so I can make a living. And government just cannot be happy with that.
I'm shocked. Then I had customers come through. You know they've got SWAT built up. They got SWAT built up. Why would you bring in SWAT on a peaceful situation?
Because they can. Because they're bored. Because they have nothing else better to do and they have to justify what they're doing. Because they don't like pesky armed citizens questioning their authority. It's intimidation. It's to show us who's boss. It's to show us that government doesn't work for, with, or by the people. Outrageous, man. These cops are earning it. I'm telling you, man, I have zero sympathy when I see headlines that cops are getting killed. I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, you're earning the hate. You earn what you get. It's people are fed up. Stop harassing good people. And maybe you'll stop getting killed, run over, and you'll increase your public relations, and you won't have people hating and not giving a shit about you. But you know what? I got news for you, people. Cops don't give a shit about you either. I don't care what they say. They don't care about you. They care about their paycheck, forcing rules, following orders, getting their pensions. That's what cops care about. There is no longer an oath to be a cop. Your only oath is to swear allegiance to your bosses, your politicians, your rule makers, and screw you pesky citizens.
But Ellison says the risk of staying closed outweighs the risk of any virus and potential.
Notice all these highway patrol. I guess they ain't writing enough tickets. They decided to come out here. Texas public safety. Isn't that an oxymoron? Public safety. Out here running around with vests, taking guns from law-abiding citizens, people who have not committed a crime, people who have had backgrounds in order to open carry and carry a gun, people who pay taxes, who bought guns and paid taxes on those guns. All these people are the enemy because these guys have to justify their jobs. After all, they're just following orders. Out-freaking-rageous.
Potentially getting in trouble with law enforcement.
The possibility of getting my license taken, heartbreaking. But
Arrested a woman for opening her business. This is Texas, people. Out-freaking-rageous.
they've already taken my income.
Ellison says she spoke with the sheriff's office prior when they told her everything would be fine as long as men with guns aren't seen on the property. So
as long as men with guns aren't seen on the property. So I'm assuming what they're going to go with in Texas, there's called a 51% rule. And a business that sells liquor, if they get 51% or more of their income from alcohol sales, guns are not allowed. So that's why you can't bring guns in bars. But you can bring it in a place like Chili's or BJ's because they sell food. And their food is more than their liquor sales. So places that have a bar on the side, you can be armed and have a gun. But if they only have 51% more from alcohol, then you can't have a gun. More ignorant gun laws. More ignorant gun regulations. More laws just so we can arrest people for things and keep the courts busy and keep the prosecutors busy and keeps the judge busy and keep our fines up and get income and harass those pesky citizens that believe they have a right to own a firearm. Outrageous.
So she says she confined them to an area in the back, which is her private property.
Okay, so here's where I think they're going to end up stepping on their foot. Is because they were on the property of the bar, I think the law in the legislative intent is you wouldn't go in the bar. Because being in a parking lot of a school with a gun is okay. You can't bring a gun inside, but you have a gun in your car and you leave it in the parking lot, that's okay. So I'm thinking these guys are going to get off because they weren't inside the bar, unless they were inside the bar. And I don't think she would let them inside the bar with a gun, because no, she couldn't. But the fact that she allowed them on her property where alcohol was sold, the government's going to try to manipulate that as the licenses for the property, and even though they were outside, they were still on the property, which I don't think is going to fly, because the license says you can't be inside where the alcohol is served. Now, if they were in the back, where they were allowed to bring drinks and drink on that property, then she might have issues, and now these people might have problems having the guns on a place that sells alcohol. So it's going to be a legal mumble-jumble BS, but government's going to win even if they lose. Because these guys are arrested, they got arrest records, they lost their guns for whatever time until they can get it back. They got to hire lawyers, they got to pay. It costs government nothing. Government wins even when they lose. And you still got idiots running around saying, if we only had more government, we would be safe. If we only passed more laws, we would be safe. It's just freaking mind-boggling on the ignorance.
Now, Gillespie tells me that while he's not downplaying the severity of this pandemic,
Okay, so reading the article, it sounds like they're saying, somebody said this is not a protest, it was a show of force to ensure this lady could violate the government's order. So, if that's a show of force, and when the cops show up, you give them your guns and you submit to arrest, how is that a show of force, people? I mean, look, at the Bundy Ranch where all those guys were there and the feds backed down, I think if the feds didn't back down, those guys are going to shoot. Those guys are going to say, it ain't happening. The government is not doing this. These guys show up with their guns and masks and saying they're there as a show of force, and when the cops show up, they give up their guns. You know what? They rolled up in that, but look at this hot dog cop here with his fancy stance, walking in a three-man. One guy, this is why, where's the full video on this? Let me find a full. Nope, no gun, no more. They took his gun. But Ricky had gloves and a vest on. Okay, well, he gave them their gun. All right, there's a full video. Okay, so there's a longer video to this, but this one kind of shows what I wanted to make my point. Here we go. You have this big truck pull up here with an armored car, and then you have three guys walk out in front and go confront these guys.
You're the blue shirt with the shorts. Keep your hands up.
where is it?
You with the hat, green shirt. Put your hands up. I can't see them.
So you have a 3-man team here, and what they're doing, they teach this kind of maneuver here when you're going after an active shooter for hallways. You pick up, some people will call it a diamond, a triangle, a wedge, whatever you want to call it. If this guy shoots his gun next to this cop's ear, this cop's out of the fight. I'm just telling you right now. So he's got his gun right by this cop's ear. Their tactics suck. His elbows are bent. They're walking so close. This is why, if you have an operation where you actually want to defend, you have sentries, you have roaming patrols that would alert you that they were coming, and you would have people on roofs so you don't lose high ground. One guy on the roof could take out Billy Badass up here with his head sticking up very easy. But, you know, in a military operation, these cops like to show up like they're running a military op, and the other guys who are here saying they're getting protection really are just there basically so the cops can come arrest you. I mean, what other reason were these guys there for? When you get grouped up people like this, it's very easy, tactical-wise, to take out. Never look away from your gun. This guy's looking all around, and he's got his gun pointed straight in. So even if he sees a threat, he's got to take time. Your eyes go where your gun goes. But that's just my personal preference. This guy's just being cool. Anyway, nice group. The good thing about groups and why they teach military not to keep your distance and interval is because when you group up like this, you don't even need to aim to shoot at these guys. You just shoot in a general area and the odds are you're going to hit somebody. If they were separate, you would have to aim at one specific target and it lessens your likelihood of hitting somebody. But the great tactics of the great police showing up to protect and serve, earning all the love from the Constitution and the patriots of America. Here they are. Here's your heroes, people. Here's the show of force by these guys. Hands up. And basically, I'll show up with a mask and a gun just so the cops can arrest me. Alrighty. That was a good plan. See that cop with a one-handed stance? This cop's just out here being just as cool as can be. I got my one hand, gangster, elbow bent, being cool. Wow.
Media guy, get back! Media guy in a white shirt, get back!
Wow. Wow. So you pesky citizens can't have these long, mean assault rifles with these big magazines in them. Only government can have those. Wow. All right. I didn't know this was Odessa. They're kind of known for being back-asswards and anti-citizens. SWAT team raided an open business, Big Daddy Zane's in West Odessa. Ooh, man. All the planning, all those cops. I think they had like over 50 cops show up for 5 or 6 guys. And they probably still would have lost had a gunfight broke out. But you know what? You guys keep earning that hate. Keep on coming, cops. You know what? What comes around goes around. Karma has a way. We'll end that there.